Hey everyone, this is Simply Syrup, and I'm so excited to be bringing you another video today from our Medieval Dynasty series. Today's topic is going to be an important one: 5 things I wish I knew sooner in Medieval Dynasty. I honestly believe that by watching this video, you will change your whole Medieval Dynasty experience. If you enjoy, please remember to subscribe to the channel so we can continue to grow together. I put a great deal of thought and care into each topic we're about to go over. If you don't understand why I'm saying something, just ask. I will respond to every comment on this video until I write my channel's concession speech. The most important lesson that I could give to you from my Medieval Dynasty experience is to let time pass. What I believe the #1 thing people miss out on in Medieval Dynasty is the actual Dynasty experience. This game is designed in a way such that a playthrough should last for many years. At the very least, until Racemir has passed on the torch to his son. So, allow me to be the first to tell you that if you want to get the full experience out of Medieval Dynasty, then you should proactively be trying to allow time to pass in the game and make it to the later years. There are 2 ways I can think of to ensure that you are moving time along correctly, and the first is to sleep at night. I'm encouraging you to let Racemir get some rest. He won't get any staff buffs for doing this, but you will proactively be cutting off hours of in-game time that it would normally take to reach the late game. Remember, the tech tree is not only leveled up by the work you do, but also the work your villagers do, and your villagers won't work at night. It takes an incredibly long time in-game to make it to the late game, and unlock buildings like the tavern. I promise there is nothing that's ever so important that you can't get it done the next morning. Except paying your taxes, of course. So take my advice here and rest at night. The second way to ensure time passes in the game is actually going to be our tip number 2. For tip number 2 today, I went with the biggest game killer I can think of. This will be the #1 reason that people decide to stop playing Medieval Dynasty. They are getting trapped in a major unfun time waster: management screens. So for tip number 2 today, I'm going with the very basic: don't get stuck in management screens. Now, management screens don't have to be terrible, and managing your village is a necessary component of playing Medieval Dynasty. But remember, every time you pause your game to adjust something in your village, you are also pausing time. So the more time you spend in management screen, the more time you will have to play the game to make it to the later buildings, as we talked about in the first section of this video. There are actually lots of ways to keep you out of management screens, but most of them come down to understanding the game, and that will only come with time. My tip to you is to try and do all of your managing at the beginning of each season. As soon as the season starts, adjusting all the sliders you need to adjust, and then try to play out the rest of the season without pausing the game. I promise you that taking this leap will make your gameplay so much more fun, and while you will almost always have to stop at some point in the season as things rarely go to plan, you will undoubtedly notice that your seasons will start to pass much faster as you advance in the game. So far, we have went over the most important lesson I can give and the biggest reason I believe people will stop playing. Our third point of this video is going to go over what I think the biggest non-gameplay mistake people can make is. This one may surprise you, and it's actually something that I have fallen victim to more than once. For my third tip today, I wanted to encourage you to not restart your game. I know most of you watching this video are probably pretty new, and maybe the thought hasn't even popped into your head yet, but the veterans of the game will tell you without any hesitation that they have also fallen victim to this trap, or they have come very close. You know, I really couldn't tell you why the idea of restarting your game is so enticing in Medieval Dynasty. All I know is that it happens a lot. So I wanted you to hear these words today. There is no problem too big to be fixed. Whether you spent the first few hours of the game goofing off, or like me, you've made a huge dynasty but it just looks ugly, or whatever the reason is, I wanted to encourage you today to stick it out. The farther you get into the game, the more power you have to make big changes, like reorganizing your village. Just stick it out and don't lose the valuable time you spent progressing in the game. The next tip is pretty general, but I think it's crucial to say in any strategy game. In Medieval Dynasty, you need to have a plan. This is most important when designing your village to avoid a late game restart, but also applies to your daily activities in the game. Just like I encourage you to get your management done at the start of each season, I also wanted to encourage you to formulate a plan for your day at the beginning of each morning. I've come to notice that a lot of players will be trying to complete multiple projects in the game at one time. This is fine if you have a plan laid out, but most of the time what ends up happening is you start one project, then see something else that needs a little work, and pretty soon the beginning project is left unfinished and you're left with a high task list of other things you want to do. The more direct you are in Medieval Dynasty, the better you will do. You really need to have a one-track mind when it comes to completing projects and take things one at a time. And the best way I have found to keep your dynasty on track is to formulate a plan each morning stating what you want to get done. This way, the most important things will get finished first and you will complete a few good things a day opposed to halfway finishing a lot of things. Just a quick note here, your town is going to end up being a lot bigger than what you expect, and I mean a lot bigger. Please plan for this to avoid a late game restart. Without knowing anything about your playthrough, I am 100% positive that you are making one giant mistake, because in all of my playthroughs, there has been one common error that I was simply never able to fix. I expanded too fast. So for our fifth and final thing, I wish I had figured out sooner. 2 words: slow down. There is no finish line in Medieval Dynasty. However, if you expand too fast, your community will start to break down, sending you into an endless spiral of messing with management screens, and the game will become unfun very fast. This message also applies to the main quest. There is no need to try and finish the storyline in one sitting. There are plenty of other activities to keep you busy in the game. With the addition of fast travel, it almost seems like the whole game has been sped up, encouraging you to build and quest faster than ever before. Due to the current nature of the game, I feel as if this tip is more important than ever. Do your best to take your time and enjoy the game. There is no finish line in Medieval Dynasty, so just enjoy the journey. Well, there you have it. 5 things I wish I knew sooner in Medieval Dynasty. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing to the channel. I will be coming out with more Medieval Dynasty content very soon that you won't want to miss. Until next time, this is Simply Syrup signing off.